Hi there, welcome back to Transfer Talk. It is Wednesday afternoon. Check your watches, it is just gone at 12:20. That can mean only one thing. It is time for our weekly catch-up with Spanish football expert Alvaro Montero. Alvaro, really good to talk to you as always. We've got to start with Diego Carlos. He wants to leave. We know that Sevilla are willing to do a deal at the right price. Just tell us, what is the right price, and does he have a release clause?
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Well, it's a good question. We have to remember that the player has a 80 million clause, around 80 million euros clause. There have been two offers, 25 and 30 million. As far as I know, the player has not accepted any offer. He has just transmitted this information to Sevilla. So it seems that the player has been extremely polite with his club and correct. And I believe myself, after asking to the people inside the club, in Sevilla Football Club, they will accept an offer around of 50 million euros. It's much more of what they pay a few years ago, of course.
Through this then, because if Sevilla win their game in hand, they're 2 points behind leaders Real Madrid. So they are in the title race. So why does he want to leave for a relegation battle in the Premier League?
A very good question. I believe it's money, as usual. As far as I know, the player is going to play this week against Valencia and after Celta de Vigo in La Liga. If you remember, there's a break, an international break for those South American players such as Diego Carlos in the last week of January. And I believe in that moment, everything will be decided. I say it's a question of money because the player has been offered about 5 million euros after taxes net clear for a whole year in Newcastle in Premier League, and it's much more, 2-3 times more of what he earns of his salary, his wage in Spain. So my answer will be that it's a question of money.
Alvaro, let's talk about a player now that I think we're going to be speaking a lot about over the course of the next few weeks. Plenty of reports are saying in the newspapers here in England, and they're suggesting that Newcastle are in for Eden Hazard. With some of those reports even suggesting that a bid was accepted by Real Madrid. Is that true? What are you hearing?
As far as I know, there's been no offers to Real Madrid for Eden Hazard. Real Madrid would accept an offer if that's true, but there's a huge problem because the player wants to stay in Madrid. As far as I know, it's his third season. Because of the injuries, he has not developed a good football, as we've seen him in Chelsea a few years ago. And he wants to give himself a last chance and maybe finish this year, and let's see what happens in summer. But as far as I know, Real Madrid has not received any offers, which is something you can understand after the last games or the last 2 years of the player in La Liga, which has not been as good, of course, as his football in Premier League.
So, Alvaro, what's the story then? Does Hazard actually have a future at Real Madrid? Do the club still want him? And if not Newcastle, where could you see him going?
Well, we have to remember that the player earns 14.5 million euros per year after taxes, clear net. It's like Gareth Bale, the two players who earn more money in Real Madrid. It's a big amount of money. I will say only Premier League clubs could afford that. Of course, if Eden Hazard wants to leave Real Madrid and earns exactly the same, I will say nowadays it's almost impossible. But clubs from Premier League will be the only one who could play the Belgian player such an amount of money. So I will say it's the only opportunity, the only chance he has to go to a good market as Premier League. Well, he had that market after his football in Chelsea. It will be the English clubs, and also the English clubs, we know that, or around the world, and of course in Europe, the ones with more money. So I will say it's a good possibility for Eden Hazard to go to England, but as I said, Real Madrid has no offers right now.
OK, we'll keep an eye on that one in terms of any movement. We're also keeping an eye on the latest with Ousmane Dembele. His agent has been pretty vocal, I think it's fair to say, claiming that Barcelona gave the player 48 hours to sign a reduced deal or leave the club. Can you see this one being resolved? And if so, how quickly?
It's a very difficult situation. As you said in Radio Monte Carlo in France, his agent a few hours ago said that Football Club Barcelona is threatening him to leave him in the tribune, not playing if he doesn't renovate. And few minutes ago in Barcelona, Xavi Hernandez, the coach, the manager, said that it's a very difficult situation, and he has answered the agent saying that he doesn't understand why his agent and the player himself say he wants to renovate, but he doesn't that because the agent said Barca doesn't want to sit down in the table and start a negotiation, and Barca, with Xavi's words, said that the player saying no. So if this situation is not my words, it's Xavi Hernandez's words, the manager, the coach, do not fit in properly for Football Club Barcelona, and is not getting resolved. As Xavi said, we will have to make a decision, and that decision is finding the player a way out. He has said that 5-10 minutes ago.
Alvaro, looks like Steven Gerrard could be getting the band back together again. First, Philippe Coutinho, now reports of Luis Suarez to Aston Villa. What can you tell us about this? Is it a possibility?
Yes, of course, because Luis Suarez has not an important role as he had last season when Atletico de Madrid won La Liga. Now he has got players such as Cunha, such as Joao Felix or Correa and Antoine Griezmann, the French striker, of course, before him. Diego Pablo Simeone has not the same confidence, it seems, as last season. So I can understand Luis Suarez try to find a way out. And in this case, we know Steven Gerrard's a friend of him after playing together in Liverpool. So it can be an option, yeah, of course. And as we know, Luis Suarez, as it happened with Eden Hazard, one of those important players, good strikers, that in Premier League had played maybe their best moments ever.
What you've just said there, Alvaro, if we did see him return to the Premier League, what sort of a Luis Suarez would Aston Villa fans expect to see?
Yeah, very difficult, not a very different one of what we saw a few years ago in Liverpool. He's 34 years old. He's not as quick as he used to be. We can remember those movements in Liverpool and Anfield Road, making some goals for Liverpool, but he has not lost that capacity of being able of scoring inside the box, inside the area. So I will say it's a very important striker to make goals in the very last moment, but he's not one of those that run 20 or 30 meters as quick as he did 5-6 years ago in Football Club Barcelona and of course in Liverpool.
Alvaro, always great to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us on Transfer Talk.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.